What's up, agents, and welcome back to another Division video. After releasing my Heartbreaker video yesterday, the creative juices around Heartbreaker started to flow, because obviously there is many different ways that we can run this gear set. Now, a lot of comments as well came in saying I run it this way, I run it that way, and I thought, you know what, this maybe deserves a few more videos. So don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and let's get into it. So today we're going to go with an LMG variant, but an LMG that I very much treat as an assault rifle. I think it's kind of a nice in between. You're not quite specking completely into the LMG meta, because it really does feel like you're using more of an assault rifle, but we'll get into that a little bit later on. So we're at Lincoln Memorial here, our old testing ground, and we are hoping that it's going to kick in. Did it kick in? We'll show that we're on heroic as well yesterday, because my map was on normal, and a few people didn't realize that you can run the map and missions separately. Again, there's a million different ways you can run this, but off the rip, that was some nice damage. Really what we're hoping for is that survivability works out nice. We can still get some stacks up on the Heartbreaker, because there's no point, you know, if you're not getting the stacks, then you're not doing the damage. Oh, big guy. Easy for stack. And I've also built into more survivability with this one. I know a lot of people, you know, like to be a lot tankier than I do. I often play, you know, very, very glass. Easy for stack.
Got a visual on additional hostiles in the memorial compound. They're moving south. There's a gate.
I didn't actually check my Heartbreaker bar at the bottom there though, but I feel like it would have been maxed. Having a heavy in any situation certainly does help. We'll see what happens across this next section. I'm actually surprised at how much uptime I've got on the drone. The drone's completely optional. It really isn't a necessity. That is very rude. I've got someone behind me, I think I have. Let's try not to worry about them for now. Oh, I might have to use a purple. But as well with this build, you don't have to worry too much about the headshots to get the pulse, because they're always on. And that was really easy. And actually our Heartbreaker stacks were fairly low in that section. So this furthermore reinforcing the point that if you come across any builds with the chest, if they're never getting, you know, past that 50% mark, they are completely, you know, you're just wasting damage. Like you are just wasting available damage. You're nerfing yourself, right? Whoa. What you get for playing out of cover too much. You can tell I'm a shield hero, right? You can tell, oh, he always runs shields. Yes, I do. Let's go up here. I got your bag. I'm purposely not using a med kit right now, because I really want to show that the build has that survivability in it as well. I can't see any of them though. I can hear them, but I can't see them. The drone's found one. Oh, there they are. Where are they all running to? We just ignored that then. Absolutely ignored it and shouldn't have. Alright, we used it. We used the kit. The drone's spectacular. It really is. Big guy coming out. Hi. Let me build some stacks. See what kind of damage numbers we're gonna get. So there you go. Off one magazine, we're at 3/4 stacks. We're not going for his backpack on purpose, going for the head. And now we're at mid, you know. You can see now we're at top stacks, and we're gonna hit over 1 million then on the armor damage. it makes absolute mincemeat of them, and there's someone just insistent on being a million miles away from us. This is actually worked out nicer than I thought. I don't actually always test the builds before I click the record button, so
All clear. I repeat.
yeah, it actually worked out really nice. So let's head back to the base of operations, give you guys a chance to comment down below or like the video, or maybe consider subscribing to the channel. That would really help me out. If you want to check me out over on X, you can do. Also, I post everything there first, or maybe join my community Discord. You'll find a link down below in the description. Alright, so let's have a look at the build. So this is the build, right? Let's not shy away from trying to hide it. But this time we did go with what was very popular yesterday in the comments, the linked laser pointer, which you get from the technician class. I don't even know if I selected LMG damage actually in my technician class, but we'll check that anyway now, because we definitely should have. So actually, no, I didn't. So I wasn't actually as strong as I should have been. So, you know, schoolboy error there. And I can't. You can feel the dismay coming across. The dismay coming across in this video that we just cannot select all of these. Like, there is absolutely no point to have us to switch them all the time. Please, massive, just give us the point so we can unlock all of them and just be done with this. Like, the back and forth for it is absolutely pointless. I don't see any reason behind it whatsoever. But rant over. So make sure you select LMG damage there. It gives you a nice little boost, and also we'll get the linked laser pointer from that section as well. And the reason I say that is because I'm going to recommend to run the custom L86, I can't say it, YouTube will kill me. It's such a nice gun. It behaves like an assault rifle. It has, you know, it's a fairly slow firing RPM. But it has 50 in the mag, which is really nice. Now, the slow firing RPM doesn't help too much with us building stacks, but it really didn't come across as too much of a problem. I would recommend, you know, you could run faster guns here if you wanted to. The RPK would be another option if you wanted to run that as well. You could also run the rock and roll as secondary for building stacks up if you really wanted to. That would be another good option. But I'm going to go over some assault rifle classes that you can run in another video. Like the RPK, you can see it has a faster RPM at 678. So that's a decent option as well. The GR9 is a decent option, but I'm not sure if it takes the linked laser pointer. So we'll check on that now and just see before I actually fully recommend that. But apart from that, I reckon they're kind of like your top tier ones that you would run. So let's just check on the GR9 if it takes the linked laser pointer. No, it does not. So like my previous video yesterday, you perhaps have to run something else. You know, you have to run the pulse, or you could run the TAC 50 and run the pulse drone. You would have to go down that route for this instead, and also just be, you know, extra vigilant about hitting headshots, because headshots will pulse the enemies anyway. So it does depend on how you want to play, but this has a much faster RPM and a much bigger magazine. So if that's how you like to play, then, you know, something like the GR9 might be a better idea. For my custom L86, I went with LMG damage, damage to target out of cover, and critical hit chance. Flatline is just an obvious go-to here. We're always pulsing enemies, which means we're always going to have 15% amp damage. This is just an absolute no-brainer from the bottom of your gun. My gun's mods are crit damage, extra rounds, obviously, the linked laser pointer, which we've already talked about, and critical hit chance. And the reason for that is that this build is 0.5 over on the critical hit chance scale. Obviously, you want to build to 60%. This is actually 60.5, but that's an actual nice sweet spot that I like to sit in. If you wanted to sit 5.5% under, you could do. It's still going to do a very effective job for some extra critical hit damage. And, you know, as far as min-maxing goes, you know, we are so powerful in the game right now. That difference isn't going to be huge whatsoever, and you might notice that at some point you'll be a little bit more bursty when it comes to going against bad guys. Backpack, I went with a ninja bike. Yes, all right, we lose some damage with this, but it also does bring in some advantages. The fact that we get a skill tier, an armor core, and the weapon damage, which is nice. critical hit chance in the mod slot with resourceful, which lets us basically activate the next step up on a gear or a brand set without having that extra piece in there. So for instance, the Heartbreaker, I'm running 3, but because of this, it's acting like I'm running 4. The Contractor's Gloves again is acting like I'm running 2 pieces of that brand gear set, and with the Palisade, it's acting like I'm running 2, which gives us some extra advantages when we come to that as well. So with the Heartbreaker, I decided to run 2 extra blues in this build because, you know, Heartbreaker and Palisade are really easy to pick up blue variants, but feel free to switch that out to exactly how many you want. So, you know, if you wanted to run 2 blues or if you wanted to run 4 blues, there's nothing wrong with that. Just however you feel when you're using the build and what becomes acceptable to you. Let's face it, if we die in a mission, we've got our Reviver Hive, it's not a big deal, so we can afford to push a little bit of extra damage. For Heartbreaker, we get the 2-piece bonus, which gives us Assault Rifle or LMG damage, so it's definitely worth running one of these 2 archetypes. Then we've got Weapon Handling, and then we've got Heartstopper. Now, headshots apply pulse for 5 seconds. We don't have to worry about this time around because we're running the linked laser pointer. Weapon hits on pulsed enemies add a stack of 1% bonus armor and 1% weapon damage to pulsed enemies up to a max stack of 50. And that was my point that I really wanted to make in this video, that you saw that if I would have run the chest piece to make that up to 100, probably only if I used a rock and roll on the heavy would I have ever got that high. We lose 2 stacks a second. It's just not worth it. Within any section of any mission in the game or open world activity, if you are not hitting over that 50 stacks, you are absolutely wasting damage. You're wasting where you could have better talents and better attributes in place. So for Heartbreaker, like the only like raid situations or the incursion, can I think that ever are you really going to be stacked up? Now, if you took this build into a legendary mission, that could get different, but you know, it would depend if you're doing it solo or in a group. Also, like I said before, we're very powerful right now, so you know, I really don't recommend running the chest. Striker chest is a little bit different because it gives us a lot of damage. The damage here, you know, although it's doubling it, I don't feel like it's ever significant enough to be in that area with Heartbreaker. So, and that's just with the damage numbers that I've ran. So that's my thoughts on that. Then we're gonna go with the knees. With weapon damage and critical hit chance. Did I show what I was running on the mask? Armor, crit chance, crit damage. And then on the holster, we've got weapon damage, critical hit damage. And these attributes can be swapped around to whatever your needs are. Like I said, get to 60% critical hit chance, and then everything else just into critical hit damage. Contractor's Gloves, easy go-to here because we get LMG damage, but we also get 15% weapon handling, which is really nice because we're running an LMG at the end of the day, and it just means that we're going to reload that little bit faster. The thing's super accurate already, so you know, anything extra on that is great, but adding to that reload speed is really nice. Weapon damage, damage to armor, and critical hit chance. Don't worry too much about any expertise in any of these builds, because expertise on armor, on gear, is pretty rubbish. Even if you maxed it out across the board, it's a very minor increase. So always increase your expertise on your guns and everything else and your skills first before you start thinking about putting expertise on gear. And then last but not least, we've gone with the Palisade Steelworks chest piece. Now the reason I like this is because it gives us 10% armor on kill from a 1-piece bonus, but it also gives us 60% health, and with health getting a boost a few patches back, it's actually pretty nice because you can see here we're running 561k health and 1.3 armor, and that's a significant amount of survivability. The core attribute comes as standard as blue on this gear set, on this brand set, so that's very easy to get this if you really wanted to. So crit chance, crit damage, and obliterate with critical hit chance just makes it really easy to pick up. And that's going to be it. Now I've gone with the Reviver Hive. Now here on the other skill, I went with the Striker Drone. Now the reason I went with the Striker Drone is because in this, you know, not intentionally, just by getting all of the other attributes that we're doing, we end up with a tier 2 Striker Drone. Now mine's expertise, because I always recommend expertise in your skills because they're account based, not character based, which means if you get to the point you're running warny runs for, you know, exotics or for, you know, gear or for materials or anything like that, you just want to overcap, the skills come in, you know, massively, right? That bonus when you're 10 levels lower than, you know, you're level 30, you're 10 levels lower, they help massively for doing warning runs. So you get 40% striker damage and the health is 140%. But the duration's also 232 seconds, which is a lot of time for you to do an entire section in a mission and then to be distracted by this striker drone. So yeah, because we get 1 tier from the technician and we're getting 1 tier from the ninja bike. I've got mine at expertise level 23, but I'm, anything over level 10 is going to do, just as well anyway. It's an absolute win-win for distracting bad guys and not having them focus on you. So that's definitely my recommendation there. You could put anything else in there if you wanted to, but if you put in like things that are going to heal you or anything like that, I mean, they would kind of work okay because we have got 2 tiers of yellow in there. But again, I don't feel like it would actually be as effective. Popping a med kit's as effective, if not miles better. So something that will disrupt them and kind of just cause them a bit of pain is good for me. Just before we end, let's take a look at the stat page. Like I said, we're at 60.6% crit chance, but obviously the cap is 60, so it kind of lands perfect. 86% critical hit damage, 85% headshot damage, and 8% armor damage. But then, even though they seem really low, this thing does a lot of damage and you will breeze through any heroic or legendary content in the game with this, and you got an absolute ton of survivability also, which is really, really nice. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.